Hello again, welcome back inside the Tier 4 studio here in Morgantown, West Virginia. For the Charleston Daily Mail, I am Mike Casazza, and you are just days away from the home opener. A rare occasion, non-conference, night game. WVU against Towson, the Tigers from the football championship subdivision. That's Maryland, football and crab cakes, right? Really good program, let's not forget that. Yes, this is a program that was in the FCS championship game last year, yes. This is a program that has not lost a road game in almost 2 seasons, a span of 11 games. But this is not that team. No offense to the Tigers. 8 starters gone on offense, all 5 linemen, a tight end, a quarterback, and a running back. The running back, Terrence West, made the Cleveland Browns. No small achievement for an FCS player, talented as he may be. Defensively, just 4 starters gone. A number of starters and veteran players back. Most notably, Ryan Dallaire, defensive end, 11.5 sacks last year, 17.5 tackles for a loss, knows his way into the offensive backfield. That'll be a challenge for West Virginia's offensive tackles, who, truth be told, did a pretty good job, save 1 or 2 plays against Alabama. The rest of the Towson defense, a little small, a little undersized, which is frequently the case for an FCS team, but the facts are the facts here. 2 linebackers, 1 inside, 1 outside, under 200 pounds. Secondary, all under 200, 3 of them under 6 feet. West Virginia is going to have size, muscle advantages, and seek to use them to its advantage. Offensively for the Tigers, run, run, run. That is what they like to do. It's what they've been so good at in the past. That'll happen a little bit with the quarterback, Connor Frazier, who had over 100 yards rushing last week in the opener, but lost some because of sacks. And Darius Victor, 5'8", 210 pounds, was actually his conference Rookie of the Year last year, 630 yards, 7 touchdowns. Big kid, inside guy, has a little wiggle outside, but between he and Frazier, a formidable combination running the ball, because right now that's not something West Virginia is accustomed to. Quarterback run game, certainly used to the big burly backs that they saw against Alabama. They like to throw the ball to a little inside guy, 5'8", 160 pounds, Derek Joseph, also a pretty good special teams player. One guy to keep an eye on, Andre Dessenberg, sophomore receiver, 6'3", 180 pounds. Very, very talented player in high school in Virginia Beach. 23 touchdown catches as a senior. Broke a number of Virginia Beach receiving records held by Percy Harvin, Plexico Burris. Those are good names to pass in your high school career. But this is about West Virginia. Not only this particular video blog, but this game. This is not being scheduled for a victory for Towson. It's scheduled for a payday. Sure, the FCS teams, they will win games and get really close. If you look at West Virginia's performance against Alabama and project them to be as good as that 4 quarters of football seems to suggest, the Mountaineers really shouldn't have a hard time with this one. This is not the same team last year that struggled with William and Mary, much as Towson is not the same team that 2 years ago nearly beat LSU and came back loaded last year and made a run toward the national championship. If West Virginia has its act together on offense, it should be able to put together some really good numbers and coast through most of the second half. Is that the case? We don't yet know. We have an idea, but let's also remember that gap in the first game between an Alabama and a West Virginia may normally be this big, but because it's the first game, you shrink it because of the time for preparation, the film you can study, the fact that it's the first game, and who knows what happens, plus all the other what-ifs, new quarterback, new starters, new offensive coordinator. It can really narrow that gap. It's easier to prepare for that game in many regards because of the time and the stage and the opponent, the grandeur of that opportunity. This is not going to be as easy for West Virginia. You could foretell some slippage unless West Virginia is going to be the team that can be excited for the number of games that it has waiting for them, much like it was for this opener. But that's a big what if right now. Things to keep an eye on. The final score, the margin of victory. If you think West Virginia can impose its style, there should be a healthy margin. They should put up some points. If not, that's going to be a concern, and it's going to kind of devalue a lot of what West Virginia accomplished, if only in perception, against Alabama. I want to keep an eye on who plays. Shelton Gibson, Dreamer Smith, Vernon Davis, Devontae Mathis, Mike Colicchio, Stone Underwood, Tony Matteo, guys like that on offense who just didn't play at all or very much, maybe dropped some opportunities, if not in the game, that are practice leading up to the game. They need to start playing. Defensively, only played about 20 guys last week. Tony Gibson wants to play more than that, 25 if he can get up there. And not only that, it's one thing to play Jared Harper in place of Carl Joseph. You want to play him more snaps. You want to get Colin Christian in the game more in place of KJ Dillon. You'd like to see maybe Isaiah Bruce get in there. If he can do it, if he can talk his coaches into it, but also if the coaches can believe that Isaiah Bruce can play linebacker still. Wes Tonkery, Nick Kwiatkowski, and Brandon Golson had good camps, except Golson, he didn't really camp, but he certainly accomplished. West Virginia will give them a run as long as they can until some of these reserves can come up and take some playing time from them. Same goes for the safeties. You want to get those guys some breaks, but only if the reserves can get it. That said, this is an opportunity to play some of those guys, so let them go and know that they have a little bit of a cushion to work with because it's just an FCS team. But if you don't play these guys now, when? At Maryland or against Oklahoma, those are not good conditions for a debut. And then once that open week comes, you really start thinking about the future of the depth chart, red shirts, things like that. The time to cast an impression is now. You want to know how many players West Virginia will play before the end of the second week as they move forward and the schedule gets really tough. For the Charleston Daily Mail, I am Mike Casazza. We'll see you next time.